Boom, we're back with the 4th stop at our Austin, Texas gym tour, Inner Krakow. After surviving 3 top-level gyms of the B Team, New Wave Jiu-Jitsu, and 10th Planet, you'd think I'd finally get a break. But here's me getting dumped on my head to prove you wrong. While this gym was certainly far more casual than the other 3 I mentioned, that didn't stop me from challenging the gym owner and trying to add another one to my collection. But there's one big problem. Everything is bigger in Texas, including their jiu-jitsu skills. While I understood that this was a casual gym, I didn't know the gym owner was a 3rd degree black belt that's been training since I was in diapers. So without further ado, let's see how I do against gym owner Gabriel Martins. And to start the round off, he shoots in on a double, lifts me up in the air, and bonks me in my head. I can already see the comments saying I thought that you were a wrestler, but sometimes I forget that people won't just stand there and let me guillotine them. Not only did he toss my saddle like it was nothing, but he also managed to lock up a Kimura grip on the way down, which he would then use to transition right into an armbar. Or at least he'd switch it to an armbar because my wonderful defense said to roll forward to get out of this shoulder lock attempt, and then I tried to push forward instead of hitchhiker escaping and I gave him a tap. Wow, a pretty fast submission. That means things can only get better, right? Well, my last video, I pulled off a toe hold which I hardly ever do, which unfortunately gave me too much self-confidence. So I figured, why not just try it again? Well, once I got the grip, I was inverting, trying to push it into his butt to get the tap, but he pulled my hip out and he was able to take my back with it. And truly committed to the technique, I held on to it the entire time, even through the tap. I'm gonna be honest that I kinda just wanted to edit my way through that toe hold and not show people it, because who holds onto a submission that long? But I guess there's a little bit of bath salts been in me as well. So we're less than 2 minutes into the video and I've already tapped twice. I'm gonna say that if you love to hate watch me, you're welcome for making a video where I get beat up more than I did as a child before my dad went to the gas station and never came back. I try to stand up so I can get control over his neck, but he does a nice job keeping his head tight to my chest. This makes it tough for me to engage with the front head or other neck attacks, and it creates an opening for him to go over the back with his arm and he can start using a tight waist. He throws the far side hook in first, then he switches sides so he has the correct hook in and he pulls me over the back. Not wanting to be too much of a chump, I actually employ a little bit of back defense that you didn't get to see earlier. This includes doing a little bit of hand fighting, trying to leg pummel, and when those don't work, pushing the top hook off and going to my knees. From here we have to keep our necks safe and continue to pick one hook and then try and shake them off, just like we saw in my B Team video. But he takes the gift of having a free leg and he puts it on the other side of my head as he's attacking for another Kimura attack. He wrenches it enough that I feel like I have to roll forward, and we all know what happens from here. You're stuck in the Kimura trap and they have all the options. He locks me up into a triangle, but it's kind of at an awkward angle where it's not affecting my carotid arteries nearly as much as he needs it to. I defend for quite a bit with this triangle, not letting him readjust his posture, but then he pulls out his trump card and instead he hits me with the armbar for the submission. It's at about this time I'm wondering, who the f is this guy? If I know I'm going to roll against somebody that's a world champion or they have a lot of accomplishments, I calculate my moves a lot more. Then when I was editing and studying, I saw this, which makes a lot more sense now. Nonetheless, I'm here to take my licks and potentially even give him a few of his own. Or at least that's what I was telling myself as he decided he was going to start entering in on my legs. Which definitely isn't a good sign for me since it's my weakest point, but thankfully I was able to spin out until he started inverting once again. Which then transitioned to him chasing me, and I fell down completely missing his head. As he went for his own knee slide on me, I also tried to invert, but I missed his leg on the entry and he was using this to try and pass by working around me. I was trying to dive under for a knee bar, and this is how it would have looked if I did it correctly, but notice how he's using his shin to push against my leg. This allowed him to clear the knee line and I wasn't able to keep control over his leg. Even worse, I was giving him my back like I was Riley Reid, trying to get him to subscribe to my OnlyFans, but he must not have enjoyed the service because he was rolling with me as if I owed him money. The gift wrap is a powerful and effective way to pull somebody into your back control while also isolating one of their arms, and that's exactly what he did to me. We can see he's trying to use his right leg to go over my right arm, and he had success with that as well. This puts me in the wonderful predicament of trying to defend his armbar or rear naked choke attacks with only one hand. So what do I do from here? I assist him in getting the armbar so I can get out of this terrible position by using the secret tap technique. I've heard that the 50th time is the charm, or something like that, and this time around, I committed to hitting him with an ankle guillotine since nothing else was working for me. I used my left hand to scoop up his ankle, but I needed to get some control over his leg. This meant kicking my right leg out so I could get some control over his hip. And yes, I can feel that he grabbed my foot as well, but I wasn't too concerned with it at this time. But as I fell down for the attack, I fell into the same trap that Nicky Rod did to Gordon Ryan as he decided to counter me with a toe hold. feel free to call me soft, but having my foot broken for a YouTube video wasn't on my to-do list for the day. I then stepped past his guard as I pulled down the neck. This is a new guard pass that's been working well for me, but I was still feeling hesitant to go all kill mode once I grabbed the guillotine, which makes absolutely no sense because he's been letting me have it this whole round. I was able to step past his feet again, but I must have the same commitment issues as my girlfriend because I put no emphasis in trying to keep him pinned down. And I was feeling extra charitable with Christmas right around the corner that I gave him my leg as a free present, and he switched it into the final submission against me. It's very clear this wasn't my best hour, and you're probably wondering, what did I even get done at this gym? Well, I had one round against this very large individual, and hit him with a great ankle pick into a heel hook, had a much more pleasant round with this individual, and then threw on some ankle guillotines. And I had some other rounds that weren't as interesting for the video, so let's get a sneak peek of the next gym. The Brazilian Fight Factory is the next gym I'll be going through, which has some killer talent such as the Tackett brothers, Cody Steele, and other tough individuals. With Cody, he gave me enough connection where I could get in right away with the Russian tie, which I used for a quick drag to take his back, but he pushed my hands off his hips so I had to shoot for a head on the outside single, which he countered with a butt drag. I had to keep deep control over his leg and I posted on my head so he couldn't take my back. But he chose to pull me backwards, so I had to bail on the leg and I could use this as an escape to sit on the chest, and we ended up in the dogfight. This was an easy entry for me to get to the front head, but he tried to take my back at the same time, so I had to roll him forward with the chin strap grip to stay on top. I was finally able to get my right foot past his knee, which allowed me to try rolling back take, but his hips are higher than mine, so I had to pull him back the other way. Then I transitioned to a body lock to finish the takedown and end this long scramble. But he wasn't content to stay on his back, so he stood up and it allowed me to take his back, but I had my weight displaced in the wrong spot. So as I stood up, I took his gift of grabbing my leg to pull him over into a crucifix. Then I got to see a creative way of getting out of it by rolling on top, then rotating towards my head. I couldn't keep the position, but I was able to chase him all the way back to standing, where he decided to make a fool of me with this trip. He got the takedown on me, but I loved his style of never being content with one position. Instead, he wanted to continuously attack and was rolling towards the armbar, but I pushed him off and we had to reset standing. Keeping the intensity going, he hit me with an arm drag so he could scoop up my ankle looking for a full single leg, but I was able to grab onto his head to free myself, and then he tried to trip me to free himself from the grip, and again we had a neutral position. You can tell he's a competitor because he's a big fan of the current meta of always trying to go for trips when it comes to the wrestling, and it was an extremely fun and exciting round. But we're going to end this one on a cliffhanger. If you want to see the next one, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I didn't do the best at Inter-Greco, but I certainly did better at the Brazilian Fight Factory. And if you want to have better results in your jiu-jitsu so you don't get tapped out 5 times like I did, then make sure to check out xmartial.com. Using promotion code Tyler10, you can save money and get great gear for your jiu-jitsu journey. Whether it be rash guards, gis, shorts, or other gear, they have it all. Make sure to check out their website and pick up something that'll work for you.